Thank you, Chairman Brown, and thank you to Administrator Fernandez for joining us today. The bipartisan infrastructure law represents a historic investment in our national transportation infrastructure needs that will update and modernize our highways, bridges, airports, railroads, and public transit systems. The law invested $176 million in public transit in Arizona just for 2022, with nearly $100 million going to the Phoenix Mesa metro area and $23 million for the Tucson metro area. The Federal Transit Administration has a crucial role to play in dispersing these funds from the bipartisan infrastructure law to make sure the money is distributed equitably and consistent with the provisions of the law. I look forward to working with you and with my colleagues on this committee to continue to advance implementation of the bipartisan infrastructure law to help Arizona families and small businesses get ahead. Administrator Fernandez, thank you for your public service and transportation. And I thank the FTA for the full funding grant agreement awarded to Phoenix Valley's metro system for the Northwest Extension Light Rail project earlier this year. This extension of the Metro Light Rail will expand the light rail system across Interstate 17 and encourage redevelopment at the Metro Center site. Looking forward, I'm interested in hearing more about the rollout of the low and no emissions bus program, particularly in challenging climates such as the Phoenix metro area. Valley Metro and the City of Phoenix have prioritized fleet transition planning, the purchase of zero-emission buses, and construction of electric vehicle charging infrastructure. And I hope the FTA will again partner with Valley Metro on this project. Now, what advice would you offer to Valley Metro as it pursues transitioning its bus fleet to electric power?
Senator, good day. And yes, the Valley Metro has really done some terrific things in transforming the corridors that they are providing service in. As it relates to the transition to low and no emission vehicles, one of the first things that our regional offices, working very closely with all of our grant recipients, have been doing is reminding them that in applying for the zero emission, that they're required to have a transition plan. And we've provided a template for how that transition plan can be developed. We're not prescriptive, but we certainly want to provide a roadmap for the development of that plan. And in the law, there was very specific 6 points that had to be addressed, 6 areas that had to be addressed. So as my recommendation is that if they are in the process of developing a transition plan, our regional office is available to provide technical assistance. If they have a transition plan, and tie that transition plan to their capital program so that it connects with the notice of funding opportunities that we would be putting out every year, and they can build upon that replacement and achieve their goals of bringing cleaner vehicles to their community.
Well, thank you. On May 20th of this year, the Tempe Streetcar opened to the public. The streetcar received federal grants, regional funding, and support from a public-private partnership involving the City of Tempe, Arizona State University, and local property owners. The Tempe Streetcar supplements the existing Valley Metro Light Rail to better enable local residents and ASU students to navigate and reach destinations in downtown Tempe. A combination of local businesses, office complexes, city parks, art facilities, and sports venues are served by the light rail and streetcar. How can the Tempe Streetcar serve as a model for other cities looking to make their communities more adaptable for residents desiring to work, live, and play in one location? And how can the Federal Transit Administration assist communities in these efforts?
Senator, the example of the Tempe Streetcar is a great one because each community needs to identify the type of mobility, the type of public transportation system that best serves them. In some communities, it will be the bus, in others, it will be a trolley, in others, it will be an on-demand service. So this is a model of really listening to the community, working with the community, and identifying what the best solution for mobility that can be brought to that community. So thanks for elevating the Tempe trolley.
Well, thank you. The bipartisan infrastructure law increased our federal public transit investment in communities of all sizes. And I'm particularly proud of a provision I worked on with Senator Moran to increase funding to small transit-intensive cities. These are cities in Arizona like Flagstaff, Yuma, that have 100,000 residents, but high-performing transit systems. For example, the Mountain Line in Flagstaff provided over 1.1 million rides last year across its 10 bus routes. Meanwhile, Yuma's bus system took nearly 254,000 trips in the fourth quarter of 2021 alone. Can you describe the importance of public transit investment in these types of smaller and transit-intensive cities?
Thank you for that question, Senator Sinema. Public transportation really serves all communities, but the smaller communities and cities that are separated by great distances, there is an absolute need for public transportation. We know that the services are not as frequent as in urbanized areas, and therefore having sufficient access to whether it's on demand, paratransit services for individuals with disabilities, on demand services for seniors who have decided to age in place, or veterans that need access to the VA clinic, or the community as a whole is crucial. In so many of these communities, public transportation, especially in rural areas, is a lifeline. And just like we may own a vehicle and know that it's there even if we don't use it every day, knowing that there's a public transportation system that is a phone call away or an app request away is really a comfort to many, many people in this nation.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.